everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I am super excited to be here for Amanda from over at Rise and Procrastinate's celebration video hop. She's celebrating getting 500 subs, so let's all congratulate her on that. And this is a fun fold hop. So my fun fold card, which is actually kind of a book, is a squish book. And I found this from May Made It. I love watching her videos. She cracks me up, and I just thought this was adorable. And I love how it all folds up. So the one that I made there, this is the paper that I used. I picked it up, I believe, at Michael's, and it had some cutouts in there, and that's how I decorated it. So I'm not going to decorate this next one, but I am going to show you how to make it so that you can decorate one. This is the paper that I ended up using. It's craft neon paper that I picked up at Michael's. It's Recollections. Now I think you're going to be really surprised how easy this card goes, or this book goes together. You're going to need 18 4-inch squares. You're going to need 2 heavy pieces of either like a mat board, or I just used real thick cardboard that came in the back of some vellum paper. You need 2 sheets about 7 inches, and then you need 3 squares of cardstock. I used 110 pound, cut at 8.5 inches square, and you're going to score it at 4 1/4 and 4 1/4. Then you're going to, now May didn't do this, but I found that this worked best for me. If you put it at the 6-inch mark on your large scoreboard and make sure that you line up on the sides as well, you can vertically score it right down the center. Now you don't have to do that. Like I said, she didn't do that, but I found for myself that I like doing that better. And then you're just going to make sure that you fold and crease with your bone folder. You want to get it nice and worked on both sides, so flip it over and do both sides. And the more you work this, the easier it gets to fold. When you first start folding it, you got to kind of push at it to make it happen. But then now, like with my first one that I made that was in there, it closes very simply, real easy. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your scored sheets, and the pieces that aren't scored through vertically through those little squares there, you're going to glue those together. So you're going to glue the 3 pages together. And I use some real strong score tape and put that all around. And I did put it in the middle as well, which a lot of times I don't, but since this was going to be moved so much, I wanted to make sure that it was solid and really stayed in place like it was supposed to and didn't kind of pull apart. And I didn't want to get any air bubbles and that type of thing in there. So then what you're going to do is you're just going to line it up with the square on the center piece, because this will end up being the center. And when you put this down, you don't want to go over the score lines. You actually want to stay just on the side of the square. So you don't actually want to go into the score line. You want to go just outside of it, or I guess on the inside of the score lines, and make sure that you keep that there. And that's going to make it fold a lot easier, and so that you don't have anything kind of crumple up as you're folding it. And that is pretty much it as far as the mechanism goes and how it's going to all fold. Now the 2 sides, those pieces pop inside. So you got to kind of make it work the first few times, like I said, that you do this. And then the center pieces fold in or downward. So after I folded it, I took my bone folder and I made sure I gave it a really good working over to make sure that everything was scored really well once it folded all up. And that's the whole mechanism. The next thing you're going to do is, now she used the mat board. Like I said, we're in quarantine right now. I couldn't just run over to Michael's and pick up some mat boards, so I found this thick cardboard that I had, and that's what I ended up using. And you cut that down to the 5 inches. And again, I added the tape in the center because I didn't wanted to make sure that everything's going to fit in there well. So then the reason why you have those 2 7-inch pieces is because that's what's going to go over those pieces of cardboard. And you want to kind of center it. It doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to fold it over anyway, but you do want to kind of make sure that you get it as centered as possible on there. The next thing you're going to do is with a ruler and my X-Acto knife, you're going to cut off the corners. and I don't mean all the way across, but you're going to see you leave about 1/8 of an inch over. So I'm about 1/8 of an inch over on that corner, and I lined it up so that I can make sure that they're nice and straight. So I didn't cut all the way to the edge of that paper. I left a little bit out. And if you line up your corners on your mat and then you line up the ruler, that will give you a nice clean cut and a nice straight cut. So just line up with all the grids on your working mat. Then you're going to take some more score tape and put it down there, because you're going to fold over those edges and it's going to give you a really nice, May called it a mitered look. I wasn't entirely sure what that was, I had to look it up, but it gave it a real crisp edge. Now, she scored all of it and I did it as well. I can't tell you if I think it was better or worse because I didn't do it the other way. I figured, you know, she does a good job, so who am I to say anything different? But then you just fold over, and you do want to start from the bottom. Don't just kind of flip it over, because you want to make sure that you get that nice and flat. You don't have any air bubbles in there, and you know, you get a real nice crisp edge, kind of like you're wrapping a present almost. And that's how you do both of those. So once you get through with that, now you're going to put it. Now you see that corner, that's the open corner. That is how you're going to open the booklet or the card. And so you want to make sure that however your pattern is, now this one doesn't particularly matter, but however your pattern is going to go along with how you're going to open it and how you want it to be. So like I said, this one doesn't matter. Now you do need a piece of ribbon. This is just from my stash. It's just a piece that of kind of a peachy orange. Now again, I put the score tape all around, including in the center, so that I could get that on nice and straight. Now I found the easiest way to do this was to flip over the piece that you're going to be putting on, so the cover for the booklet, and then try to get that as centered as possible right on the top. And then the next one you're going to have to kind of go in, I don't want to say blind, but I like to measure it up with the bottom one. So that's how I ended up doing that. But again, putting all of that score tape down, making sure that it's nice and tight, because this is going to get a lot of use opening and closing it. So you really want to make sure it's down there good. Now this is the part you want to make sure that you remember to stick your ribbon in there, because otherwise it won't be on there if you don't get it in there right at this moment. And on my first one, I actually did that and had to rip it apart and kind of start over again. So then I'm just lining this up, making sure that it's as straight as possible. And that's kind of the entire book. See how simple that was? That was way simpler than I thought it was going to be when I first watched this video. But then after watching it, like I said, it was really, really simple. And then you just tie that up. So now here are the 4-inch pieces, and that's what's going to go inside of the card to decorate it. Now there's 6 squares if you do the back and decorate the back. There are 6 squares that are going to have a full square. The rest of them you're going to cut in half diagonally. So you're going to make those little triangles, and that's how you're going to decorate all of those sides. And on that first one that I made, you know, I ended up cutting pictures down and I matted them. Now I think it would be really cute to put different sentiments along with some images. I mean, there's just so much you can do with this once you kind of get it all done. This, you see, it didn't go all the way through because I literally took the entire pack and cut it together, so I just had to cut those couple. And then I ended up figuring out at the end that I ended up having 7 pieces of paper squares over there, so I ended up having to cut one of them down. But then all you're going to do is glue each piece down and decide how you want to decorate it. On the one that I did before, I didn't put the same patterns together. On this one, I decided to keep all the same patterns together. And then if you're when you're decorating the back, if you decide to decorate it, you can flip over those edges to make it easier to get those triangles inside of there. And that's it. How simple and easy was that? I hope everybody is enjoying this video hop and that you're learning some new fun fold cards that you'll be able to make and create. And I hope everybody's staying healthy and safe during this time. Take care. Make sure that you click down below at the next person on the hop. And again, congratulations to Amanda for her 500 subs. Thank you and take care.